Welcome back. This is DJ Gary. Hit that subscribe button and like because we're going to be dropping some truth bombs. And be sure to share this. I wanted to touch on probably one of the most innovative uh, geniuses who don't get enough credit and enough uh, mention. He's been very instrumental in a lot of people's careers and uh, elevating them, and probably one of the funkiest guys. When you mention Stevie Wonder, when you mention uh, like a George Duke, a Prince, but Junie Morrison was before Prince, right? So Junie Morrison was really one of the key guys that came from Ohio, and he pretty much added something to everybody's careers. Now, Junie Morrison, he comes from the church. He comes from the gospel type aspect, and the Ohio players was already kind of like not doing a thing. They kind of like was getting in, certain shows and that type of thing. Uh, but they didn't have a keyboard player. They just had some horns, drums, bass, like two horns, I believe, and that was about it. But Junie Morrison, would do shows, and the Ohio players would be, there, and so, after a while, he kind of went over there, and they never had a piano player, so he started, getting in contact with them, and he would see them off and on, and so he became a he became an arranger. He became that type of thing. He didn't have a piano yet. He was playing for somebody else. I guess one of his friends. Uh, but eventually, because he could play trumpet. A lot of people might not know that, but he could play trumpet. So, anyways, he was playing trumpet with Ohio players, and then he switched to the piano, and so essentially what happened was he started arranging and started giving ideas, and that's when he did Pain. I think Pain was developed from some type of kind of like an intro, a warm up intro kind of. So he did that, and Pain was born, and Junie Morrison being GNC was he put you know he put his his gospel bluesy chops all over that, his vocals and you know, but he actually uh was playing bass, guitar, keys on stuff like Ecstasy. That's him playing bass, guitar, um, you know, he played on a lot of recordings and whatnot. Um, I think he plays bass, guitar, piano, and yeah, on those recordings. Uh, Ecstasy was one of them, and I think Funky Worm. He's playing on that. So Pain, that type of thing. So he was very instrumental in the ideas for Ohio players. He was really responsible for the final mixes and making sure everything fit together. Um, and then eventually he left. Uh, he left the Ohio players, and I think the thing that was missing from the Ohio players was that once he left, there was really no the gospel influence, kind of like that bluesy gospel type influence really left. Because his take on what's going on was probably like one of my favorite covers of what's going on, next to Donny Hathaway and all that. So when he left, he did his own thing, but he really didn't leave, but he was still doing his solo thing. He was, would actually go back and work with them, and a lot of people's kind of like unaware of it, but you know, which is probably why some recordings like maybe Heaven Must Be Like This has like a very, you know, gospel type fit to it. Uh, not taking anything away from uh the keyboardists that eventually came and added to Billy Beck. Shout out to Billy Beck. Uh, you know, but Junie Morrison was really a force, within that funk music and the bluesy gospel chops all over that. He was really that. And then he did his thing, his solo albums. His solo albums was probably like one of the most underrated um, albums of all time on Westbound. Uh, when he was with Westbound, When We Do, that's one of my favorite albums. Uh, Freeze. Those are really underrated projects in my opinion. So let's move along. At this time, Parliament, he would run into Parliament, and then eventually, he became friends with Bootsy, and then Gary Snyder. Gary Snyder, uh, rest in peace to Gary Snyder, brought him, kind of into the fold, and brought him into the fold, and then he started, you know, uh, producing, started arranging and writing with Parliament Funkadelic. But what a lot of people don't understand is uh, he uh, he came at a pivotal time, really, in Parliament's career because Glenn Goins had just left, eventually died. Jerome Bailey, he left. Uh, you know, uh, that type of thing. And so it was really kind of like a transitional period. So he kind of came at a great time. The older guys had left. Fuzzy Haskins, rest in peace, he had left. Uh, Calvin left. You know, so when Junie Morrison is in there, he kind of, well, not kind of, he did help quite a bit. He helped, uh, you know, uh, Gary Schneider, basically, say, come in and, you know, cut some tracks. And some of the stuff, like One Nation under Groove, that was pretty much, uh, it wasn't really done or anything like that. It was pretty much, you know, they was waiting for Bernie Worrell to get his move, but everything else, kind of came afterwards. The vocals came afterwards. I think the drums came at a later date and some stuff like that. So Junie Morrison uh, really helped out a lot. One of my favorite albums, Glory How is Stupid. Junie Morrison's all over that. We can't forget Aqua Boogie on, Motor Booty Affair. Junie Morrison's all over that. He came up with a few of them tracks actually. And then once he did that, that's when they did the Glory Hole Stupid album. And Junie Morrison, to me, he brought character, like a whole other character to Parliament Funkadelic. And that's just real facts. You know. So yeah, that Glory How Stupid, that's probably like one of my favorite projects. And let me also give credit to Ron Ford. Let me give some credit to Ron Ford. Shout out to Ron Ford's family. Shout out to Snyder's family, and the Morrison family. But And so by the time Knee Deep came around, um, George Clinton um, had these ideas. You know, he had this lyrical idea, and then so what happened was, Junie Morrison, he's a a musician and producer and stuff like that. So he took um, a George idea and kind of like was messing around with it. Uh, Supposed to be like a 3 and 4 lyrical type thing. So he took that, put it with a 4 and 4, type production, and a lot of people seem to don't know or what, but Junie Morrison you know, is really an actual writer of Knee Deep. He arranged it, wrote uh, the music. You know, Knee Deep. The idea for the track was actually an old track that Morrison had. Junie Morrison had. I think it was like 5 years before, just you know, sitting in his little vault or whatever. And so he took that out and you know got his drum machine and guitar and whatnot, and uh, uh, his bass, and just structured it and gave it its thing. Uh, and what people might not know is June Morrison actually plays on the track, not Bernie Worrell. Bernie Worrell did not have nothing to do with Knee Deep. That's just facts. That's facts over fiction. He's not on the track. So the only ones that's on the track really is uh, George, the background singers, uh, Bootsy Collins played drums. The drums came later, but he played on drums, and then Mike Hampton did the solo on there. Um, uh, Julie Morrison did the little jazzy guitar chords on there, and you know, uh, keyboards, synth, the bass, stuff like that. So Junie Morrison was really instrumental in the track and putting it together. Um, he only got credited as a arranger, and that really didn't sit well with Junie Morrison because he knew the truth and he knew what he did. And then you got people running around like Bernie Worrell played on it, but that wasn't the truth. Uh, you know, um, but really, Junie Morrison was co-author of that song. Uh, his work, and that's no slight at Bernie Worrell. Shout out to the Worrell family, his wife, and she got some things going on with George. She's currently suing George. George is suing some people for his publishing, and people sued George. uh that's another video itself, but uh Junie Morrison really deserved it more credit. But yeah, he's all over. One of my favorite collaborations he did with Parliament was is uh, Nothing Has Changed. I love that track. That's one of my favorite tracks. He's on there with Gary, uh, Bootsy on drums, George in there. See, Junie really, he kind of, he gave Parliament and Funkadelic kind of like a, you know, more fun, like even more fun with funk on top. But yeah. So, Junie's actually was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a Parliament Funkadelic member, and he went under an alias with Parliament. Actually, was it JC Theron, the JC Theracon or something like that. So, but Junie also was like, certain people wasn't credited for certain things over there with Parliament Funkadelic stuff, and credit went to other people that wasn't supposed to get it, and you know that whole type of politicking thing was going on, and uh, you know, but Junie Morrison work, is self-explanatory, explain, you know, itself. All you gotta do is just look at everything he did, listen to everything he did, everything he created, and he moved on from P Funk camp, and he kind of he still did his own thing, his own solo projects, you know, real innovative himself. So uh yeah, so that's all I want to say right there. I'm gonna keep it like that. Rest in peace to Junie Morrison. Rest in peace to everybody else of the P Funk camp. Gary Snyder was one of those guys also that was really really there when everybody left, and everybody went wrong way. Gary Snyder was there, and he really put on, you know. And one of my other favorite collaborations with Junie Morrison on there is definitely, you know, Aqua Boogie. Um, uh, Thing from the Black Hole. I just love that track. Yeah. All right. Like this video, comment, subscribe. All right, I'm out.